Hey everyone, it's Wingspan TT, and today for my 15th EVE Online video, I want to do something. I want to go back to my roots, and I want to make a real exploration video. And now that I have some experience, and I've been out in the stars and nullsec for a while, and I'm not particularly afraid, or at least I'm not completely paranoid as much as I first was, I kind of want to make a little bit of a longer video, similar to how when I first started out, I was just exploring around, seeing what I could find, and trying to get into and get out of trouble, and just kind of see what I've done. So I've set up a course here that's a little bit ambitious. I'm not saying this is all going to fit in this video, but I basically wanted to make one quick stop in Antioch up there and then head down into the Great Wildlands to find out how wild the Great Wildlands really are. Actually, my first corporation ever, which was called, oh, what the hell was it called? Actually, I don't even know. Now it's kind of embarrassing. No, I feel kind of embarrassing. It was Space, the Final Frontier. That's right. It was an exploration corp. They're, as far as I know, they're located somewhere in the Great Wildlands. So maybe I'll bump into them there. Maybe they won't remember who I am. Maybe they will remember who I am, and that's why they want to get rid of me. But in the interim, I'm just going to be dropping off some materials real quick, then heading over there and going for my 51 jump spree. Now, one thing that I've done since I started playing EVE Online, and here I have my beautiful strategy house, other than having a ship that costs literally, how much more does it cost? Let's see here. Stratios cost 300,000 million divided by 400,000. Was that right? 750. That can't be right. 700. Maybe it is right. Okay, it is right. My ship currently costs 750 times more than my ship cost when I was first making my EVE videos. So, you know, that's a pretty big difference. You could say I've moved up in the world. I've gone for, I don't even know if there's a comparison with cars, because even though you could get some rust bucket car for like $2,000, $1,000, I mean, I guess there's cars out there for $750,000. I don't think there are cars for $750,000, other than maybe some limited edition cars made out of gold or something. Now, I know there are people at home cringing because I'm not flying cloaks, but yeah, there's no one in local. All right, give me a goddamn break. I want to enjoy the visuals a little bit. Trust me, I cloak 90% of the time, but I'm making a video. What's going to be the point of the video if you guys are just going to be staring at an invisible ship the whole time? One of the things I've also been making in my time, doing some exploration in EVE and making my money and making all the ranking up and all that crap in my skills, is I've been writing an EVE Online new player exploration guide. And this is a 7 or 8 part guide, or it could be 9 parts. I'm not completely sure quite yet. I haven't landed on exactly what the final count's going to be. But I've been putting this guide together in case either if you want to get into EVE and get into the deep space exploration, or if you play already and you kind of want to switch over to exploration, either because you see you can make a decent amount of money, you want to see the universe, see all the sites. Ooh, there's a space rainbow. Do you guys see that space rainbow? What does it mean? It's not, yeah, it's like a nebula, but there's a rainbow at the edge of the nebula. For whatever reason you want to learn about exploration, if you go to toptiertactics.com, toptiertactics.com, I know I haven't plugged it that much in my current videos here, and it's a shame because this is a video game strategy website that I run, and I happen to have written, you know, some information about how to pick a ship, you know, comparing, contrasting different ships a little bit. We're going to Antioch, by the way, being one of the only named systems in nullsec. All the other systems have these boring names, I6, you know, -6SYN or whatever. It's like all of the other systems used to laugh and call Antioch names. I don't know. They wouldn't let poor Antioch connect to it with pirate stargates. Okay. And I talk about how to pick a ship, how to fit your ship, what skills you're gonna need, what like the recommended minimum skills that you need to in order to profitably do exploration, and then of course like target skills to aim for. I've got a whole section on how to maneuver through space and not get killed. I'm gonna have a section on how to actually do scanning, a section on how to actually do hacking, and then some other sections on other ways to make money while you're out in the world exploring. And the reason I'm coming to Antioch, by the way, is because I have a mobile depot out here. And I will be cloaking across the great expanse of Antioch. Let me just check the scanner real quick. We have one cosmic signature here, and it's been my experience. This is a very large system, by the way. It's more than 150 astronomical units across, so just quite large. And if we open up here, we can see like just how slowly my ship is crossing here. I have a mobile depot in this system that I have moved it from time to time, and I pick it up every now and then. But people don't mess with it. I know someone's going to mess with it now, so there's like no point. Don't worry, by the time you watch this video, I will have already moved it, so feel free to come to Athioth and try to mess with my mobile depot, but it's not, you know, you won't be doing me any great harm. It's fine. And what else is my guide? That's pretty much it. So each chapter is like 3,000 words. It's a pretty big guide, so it's like a 20 to 30,000 word guide. We see my ingeniously named mobile depot sitting out here, medium cargo container. And really with a system this big, no one ever bothers to find mobile depots and blow them up. I mean, I saw some idiot put his mobile depot 50 km off a gate. Like every single person warping by would try to blow it up. I don't know why you do that. So here in my mobile depot, I pretty much throw all the trash that I don't really intend to bring home with me. And you see here, I have 2 million ISK worth of materials. In here, well, okay, I have another mobile depot, which you can't put a mobile depot in another mobile depot. I guess it would cause some kind of infinite paradox or something like that. So I'm going to throw all this crap I don't need. Oh, I'm sorry, I did pick this by mistake. Oops. Okay. I'm going to bring this other mobile depot with me. And you see I have 4 million ISK in material in here, plus these blueprints. These blueprints right now are not worth that much. I think they're worth like 10 to 20 million each. But, when the Chronos patch comes out and integrated and tier 1 drones are worth more, and look at that, it looks so romantic, like they're gonna kiss, they have the beautiful starscape in the background. Like, I love you, medium cargo container, I love you, Stratios. And Stratios is a heartbreaker. She's just gonna turn that big ol' ass around and warp over to K-TAC IYNW. As far as my fit goes right now, nothing exciting. I took one of my energy newts off and put in a warp scrambler in case I need to use that, but really I could go either way on it. I really don't intend to fight too many people other than very simple explorers like when I had my first kill. My rigs are a mess. I gotta redo my rigs. I retrained my rig skills up, so I can fit better rigs now. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I just like to fly around in this thing. It's soothing. But the Astero is way faster. The Astero is way faster. And honestly, for taking a trip that's 47 jumps is probably a lot safer to take a faster, more nimble ship. But I decided I just want to slow boat around my cruiser and potentially kill some people with drones. Could be fun. The other reason I didn't take there's no other real reason I didn't take the Astero. I guess I was just planning to be out for so many jumps. That's even why I brought another mobile depot in case I get so much loot that I actually had to abandon it earlier and create a new a mobile depot and drop stuff in somewhere along the way. And you see here, in general, I'm not particularly afraid of what's going on in these areas. Right now, I guess technically right now, I'm in the Great Wildlands. Let's see if I can bring up the star map. I see. I guess this whole area is technically the Great Wildlands, so I could begin my exploration here, see if I can make some money, and I'd like to at least get one more jump in, just for the sake of feeling like I just didn't dip my toes in, that I actually got into the Wildlands. Let's see, we have one cosmic signature, so I'm gonna go warp off to somewhere, launch my probes, scan it down, and by the way, I'm gonna be doing part of the probes. The probing and scanning part of the guide is definitely going to be fairly detailed, but the reality is once you have at least a decent skills like astrometrics 4 and then everything else at like 2 or something like that, and then whether you have some sisters core stuff or you have rigs or implants or any of that stuff, it really shouldn't be difficult to scan down like 90% of stuff in this game. You kind of just go down the side, down the front. If the deviation is small, you can skip 2 sides at a time. You zoom in, you scan more, scan, zoom, scan. Alright, so this is a wormhole, and while wormholes are normally very interesting and all, right now I'm not going to be taking any wormholes. Not because I'm afraid of them, but because I've set out this beautiful course. I spent so much time plotting this course, and it was not by any means easy to plot, by the way. I mean, there were so many interesting little, should I have gone off this way? Should I go off this way? Should I go in this circle? Should I come over here? I don't know. I don't even know if this is the Great Wildlands down here. I just kind of wanted to make an interesting little path and come around the main area of it here. And these systems are completely abandoned in the middle. I might stop there if I don't find any loot in the meantime, but Otherwise, whatever. Here in the drone slots, I got 5 Ecm drones to protect myself from people. I've got 2 geckos, which are new special edition heavy drones that do extreme amounts of damage with absolutely no damage mods on this thing. I have 340 DPS, and when I'm actually fitted for combat, that goes up to 600, which is not bad at all. Light drones for taking out frigates and salvage drones in case I need to salvage things. That was kind of self-explanatory. Here we have 2 cosmic signatures. And the one thing with the cosmic signatures, which is kind of counterintuitive, is that the larger these spheres are, usually the better the signature is, because a large sphere actually means it is more difficult to scan down. Because it's a large array, it means it hasn't been pinpointed as much. So I usually start with those. And you know, it's just the big bloopity, you know, the big bloopy shape of it. I guess I like big bloops. I can't lie. Here we go. Combat site, not taking it. Let's see this one. Another interesting trick I learned, by the way, is that the letters in the signatures are not completely arbitrary. I mean, they're arbitrary to an extent, but the last letters, so here we have QLN, TAC A6864, and JHO 439, is that the if the letters of the first half all line up, that means that those signatures have been around for approximately the same amount of time, which could tell you something. It could mean, for instance, that okay, so if they've both been here a really long time, no one has touched them in a long time, so if we're out in the middle of nowhere, it's very possible that they are just really difficult combat sites or really crappy combat sites no one wants to do. By the way, this system, N-RAEL, never go there. Never go in that system. It's ridiculously gate camped. That's just like one of the systems I just happen to know from experience, having been through there many times. It's just gate camped to hell. So if you want to live, don't go through NTAC or Rail. Scanning this thing. This thing's probably not going to be particularly good because you can see just how small it is already. And I know sometimes good things come in small packages, but cosmic signatures are not one of them. Now there's going to be some major changes to exploration in Chronos, and I am kind of looking forward to that. I know a lot of people are upset because it was, so there, oh, yes, see, so here we go. We've got a crappy combat site, Independence. Independence is like this storyline combat site, apparently, that just is really shitty, doesn't give good loot. No one wants to do it. It's just not worth anyone's time. Checking D-scan real quick. Don't really see any. Ooh, there's a probe out here, but it's probably in a POS, so I'm not going to worry about that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the exploration changes. So one of the big exploration changes that's going to happen is they're removing the loot spew from the cans in data and relic sites, which I made a video complaining about that not working recently. So they're going to change it so there's no more spew. I don't know if they gave the loot cans an acid or something like that. They're not going to be vomiting at all. You're going to pick up the stuff just like a ghost site, just like a normal site, like a normal container. So that's cool because the loot spew is very, very annoying. It's probably the most annoying part of the game. It'll make exploration a lot faster and a lot safer in general. But of course, one of the downsides is that they're going to make it so that there's less loot, of course, now in those cans. Now, I think that's totally fair. It makes sense. You can't miss any of the loot, so they're going to have to cut the loot down a little bit. Makes sense. People are like, oh, they said they're going to half the loot. Well, first of all, they did say in the forums that they're not going to have to loot. And even if they have to loot, think about it this way. They have to loot, that means there's less T2 salvage stuff, there's less T2 rig components. That means the value goes up, so maybe the loot, the loot amount goes down by half, but the value goes up by like 25%. So you're still down 25%, but maybe the sites take 25% less time to do now. So in the long run, the overall money that you make exploring is about the same, except they just took out this stupid mechanic that most people hate. Now I guess other people playing EVE are not going to be fond of that change because now they're going to have to pay out the ass for rigs. Because I guess that's what gets made out of all that stuff. That's why I see all these rigging books and stuff like that. They get tied to all these exploration. But hey, not my problem. Not my problem. I'm just going to profit on the tears of the EVE community. The other changes they're going to be making in EVE Chronos, which is coming up soon. If you haven't, it may already be out by the time you watch this video, depending when you're watching it. I don't know the future. Is that they are going to make it so that scanning arrays that are on your ship, are not going to be active while you're cloaked, or it's like they are active modules, so you can't be cloaked and use them. So for instance, if you had in your mid slots, which I don't have any here, you know, a scan acquisition array or a scan range finding or pinpointing array, you can't be cloaked and get those bonuses. You have to be uncloaked, which is not really a big deal for a couple of reasons. One is that, yeah, as an exploration, I don't personally use them at all, so I don't even think they're necessary. I think if you're really poor and you have really bad skills and all that crap, sure, it might be useful to have them. The other reason I just don't think it's a big deal is just because, I don't know, I think right now exploration is very, very safe. You're flying around these cloaky ships. Yeah, you go into dangerous areas, but in general you can go sit there like a little dweeb, cloaked in a system forever, and people can't do anything to you, especially if you have combat scanners and stuff. So it puts a little risk and reward. Like, it's not just an instant, easy decision. Like, you want to get these modules on here, that's great, but you have to risk being uncloaked a little bit, and someone might scan you down. But hey, what's the worst that can happen? You're still in a cloaked ship. You can still instantly cloak if you see probes coming after you. You can still, you know, create safe points in space and scan from those uncloaked. So, and really, you shouldn't be doing your exploration scanning too much when there's other people in the system anyway. It's basically suicide, or it's basically, you know, just saying, hey, I'm in a cheap ship full of tons of loot. I'm a loot pinata. Come get me. Oh, what the hell? Oh, that's the gate. Look at this, by the way. This is an option where you can turn on so you can see your route in space. So that's actually all the jumps I'm going to be making over there in the background. Here we have, nope, nothing here, so I'm just going to jump to the next system. And one thing I put in my guide here is I usually make bookmarks as I go through these systems. So I'll make like O, tag, 3V, W8 safe, and don't lecture me about not being a safe. I know it's not technically a safe, but it's basically a point that I could get close to and scan the gate if I had to. Safe, there we go. So if I'm ever in this system again, I could like warp to one of those if the other gate, like since this gate's outside of my directional scan range, I could warp to those little safe points cloaked and then use directional scan. They also would not trigger like what do you call this thing, the drag bubble, when people put drag bubbles in a system and pull you out of your warp. So it's just a good practice, and personally I also like it because it kind of gives me a little bit of story. Like when I go into a system, ooh, we have an R-engine system, okay. So here, yep, I'm actually just going to do is warp to this this planet over here. I see that we have Sweden Lady is in the system, and Sweden Lady is a member of corporate scum in the Cult of War. She's been playing since 2007, and I'm just a lady making ISK by turning tricks. Okay. But she's got a bunch of titles, strategic locations, great tower, core class, manager, great towers. I don't know what the hell any of that stuff means, other than I probably don't want to have anything to do with her. And there is one cosmic signature in here while I fly through a planet. But yeah, let's see if I see anything on D-scan. And just so you see where right now, I basically warped to the planet that is the closest to this gate. So that when I go into directional scan here, I just point at the gate. It's like, okay, there's nothing on gate. I'm just going to jump through. I'm just going to jump through. And I got an argument with someone on Reddit because they were telling me that I was giving people bad advice to just warp straight to the gate instead of doing what I just did now. Which what I did right now is definitely safer, but the reality is 90% of the time you warp into a system in nullsec and you warp to a gate, like, no one is sitting there, like, okay, yes, there are sometimes people sitting there, but 95% of the time, no one is just sitting there waiting to kill you. And even if they are waiting to kill you, they're not, like, actually, like, particularly ready. Like, if that person's, like, sitting around some random planet, doing their own thing, killing rats or whatever she's doing. Although, what I do like to do, by the way, just for my own safety, is, like, when I jump in a system and there's, like, a potentially hostile person behind me, I just immediately jump over. I don't need them to follow me and correctly guess what system I'm into. Now, if I see her follow me, then I know I'm in trouble. Then I know she's after me. But then of course, we get into here, and there's 4 gates, so she doesn't really know which way I'm going to go. She has to, check behind door number 1, behind door number 2. Where's Chance Ravinne? Does she win me? Does she win a new car? Whoa, that was really close to that planet. Ooh, and we see a really cool sunrise coming out. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Can't beat the view. So I think a lot of players in EVE, and this is my experience now playing the game now for about 2 months, maybe 3 months, is that most people are very, very paranoid. Like, I know I was paranoid playing the game, but most people are just very paranoid and even possibly just way too paranoid. Like, I'm talking about players who have been playing this game for so many years, they just kind of assume every single player is not only willing to kill them, okay, which is not true. I'm sure, yes, The majority are, yes, the majority are, but they feel every player is willing to kill them, every player is ready to kill them, and every player is capable of killing them. So I would put it more like willing to kill you 70%, ready to kill you, I don't know, 5%, and then capable of killing you 1%. I really don't think that most players pose a real danger to any explorer flying through nullsec with a covert ops cloak. And you could say, okay, well, I'm wrong, but now I'm not going to pretend I haven't been playing that long, but I've done thousands of jumps, scanned down hundreds of sites, and I have been killed like while in exploration maybe 4 times ever and potted only once. So it just seems to me that just play from a pure numbers game. And again, I know that's just my own anecdote. This is Relic Site, by the way. That's just my own anecdotes. Is that most players are not out to get you, and even the ones who are out to get you can't get you. So as long as you're careful and on your toes and looking for the warning signs, you should be fine. Okay, now Ruined Angel Temple Site. And I'm of the understanding that the Angel sites are actually the best when it comes to loot value. And we'll see here that I actually kind of like know what I'm doing a little bit here. I would be very surprised if I fail like any of these hacks as far as like fail both attempts to it. Maybe I'll fail one. Oh, the other thing I was going to say before exploration changes is because you can now get all the loot easily when it's done. I feel like a cargo scanner may be a superfluous mid-slot. It's kind of like you can still use a cargo scanner to see if there's anything like a value or which things to do first if you're in a rush. But the reality is, oh, this thing's closer. But the reality is that you really don't need it. So the question is like, should you even use it? Now, one thing I forgot to do. Oh, okay. This is mainly tier 1 stuff, but I'll do it. Why not? I might as well. I'm at this site. I'll just leave the rubble when I get to the rubble. Okay, that one's a lot more valuable. All right, so we're just gonna do this. Here we go. This is gonna be easy. I'm gonna be grabbing parts and materials. We see immediately this hack is not particularly difficult. I got my tier 2 relic scanner, so my virus does shit tons of damage, kills that thing in 2 clicks. So I only take one hit from it essentially. I kill those things in 2 clicks. I only take 1 hit from them now. I don't even know what they're called. Firewalls? Is that? Yeah. I don't even look at them anymore. Like, I know what they all do just from how they look. They're big friggin' ugly faces. I don't trust computers, even though I'm using one right now. Okay. Well, that was dumb, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and there we go. And I beat the hack in 2 clicks. All right, here we go. Materials. Here we go. Come on. I forget how much value I had in here before. Oh, just my probes. That's right. There we go. Pull that thing. Pull this thing. Rotate the camera. See this thing. I try to grab the stuff that's farthest first before it moves out of range, because once you have more than one container moving out of range, you start to get like in trouble. Like, it's like, okay, all right, you gotta kind of have to like choose which of your children you love most. And occasionally I look for encounter surveillance systems, and I'm really pissed because I actually successfully stole from an encounter surveillance system a couple of days ago. I tried to record it, but my video got corrupted. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so pissed, because there's almost no videos online of anyone doing that, especially successfully. And I just really thought, oh, people are going to be searching like how to steal from an ESS. And I was going to be very proud to have that footage, but the video didn't keep correctly, so unfortunately you guys don't get to see it. But just trust me, it actually happened. You can check the kill mail boards, because I also destroyed the ESS when I was done with it, although that took the better part of half an hour. Because I didn't have any geckos or heavy drones of any type with me at the time, so I was just fighting with light drones, and things got like 3 million hit points. Okay, wow. Alright, yeah, again, pretty easy. Right now I have one of those relic implants. I might lose it. I don't know if I really need a relic implant. I ace these things pretty easily now. And this is basically just like free money floating around. Like, you get good at this stuff, it really does not require... I'm not saying it doesn't require any effort, but you're on autopilot. Like, it's just easy. Like, okay, yeah, just give me all the money. So I understand why they're cutting down the loot value or the loot density. Okay, here we go. Now start moving towards one of the ones in the middle. I'll pull one of the ones on the side that's expiring first, and I'll pull this one because it's expiring next, and I just guessed it because I'm freaking psychic. I'm Dionne Warwick with the friggin' wingspan psychic hotline. And if you're pretty young, you probably don't know who Dionne Warwick was, but she used to have a psychic hotline. She was very big. Oh, I guess she used to be a singer. See, even I'm relatively young. Ooh, here we go. A blueprint. Like, even compared to my parents, I'm relatively young. Because, like, no, Dionne Warwick was a famous singer. It's only later that she got a psychic hotline and became a kook. Like, all right. So you can judge your age. No matter who you are, your age can be directly judged by your knowledge of Dionne Warwick, whether it's 0, psychic hotline era, or famous singer era. Now, this is one of the harder hacks. You can tell because the firewalls have 90 coherence instead of 80, which I just find annoying because I can no longer single-click kill them. Oh yeah, one more exploration change in Chronos is because there's no more loot spew. That oh wow, that was easy. That implant that I have in my head that makes the loot spew timer last longer. The implant that affects loot spew, don't need that anymore. Here we go. Now I don't have to grab any more data containers. That's gonna change to add virus and coherence to both relic and data hacking, which to me seems really stupid. But there's no reason not to have it. So what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna keep that in my slot 10, my 10 slot, and I'm gonna go pick up something else for what I currently have in my relic and data spot. Gonna scan it. What is it? Yep, it's like the crappiest tier 1 crap. That stuff probably sell for like 50,000. So just gonna ignore it. Gonna leave it here so that the other people who live in this area can have it. They're gonna get all excited. They're like, oh yeah, Relic Site. Hell yeah, Relic Site. Like if I was really mean, what I would do is I would also go over there and like purposely fail the first part of the hack. So then not only is there garbage loot there, but if they're somehow also bad at hacking, they'd only have one chance at acquiring the loot.
Oh jeez, that's way more complicated than I expected considering how crappy the loot is. Like, maybe I just read it wrong. People are gonna be like, Wingspan, you shouldn't do it in this order, you shouldn't destroy the thing. Shut up, I already got it, alright? I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Like, I know it's not, like, I'm not, like, trying to do this from a strategic point of view, like, what's the best thing to possibly do. Like, I'm trying to do this to save time, move through it, get the money, and then get out of there. But yeah, ideally what you would do is you kind of spread around the clicks. You don't want to click next to the same thing twice so you don't accidentally trigger something that covers up a node you need. You don't want to, what else do you want to do? I guess you want to not clear anything you don't have to clear so that you can, I guess, save your coherence for as late as possible. Well, that can also backfire. That has the possibility of backfiring because sometimes you save your coherence and then what happens is you uncover like a bunch of the healing nodes, the restoration nodes at once, and then it's kind of like, all right, great. At that point, you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing.
I feel like I have a loot protection service. Like, hey, I saw you had some loot. It was just sitting around these ruins. If you want, I could take it off your hands. I'll just make sure it's like safe in my cargo hold. I could bring it to like high sec. And you know, like find some people who are like interested, like they're loot collectors, and yeah, you could kind of take that as the service approach to it. I'm gonna get that thing, and then I'm gonna get this thing, and I'm gonna have just enough time to grab it. No, I don't have it. All right, and the site's done. So let's see what I pulled. 52 million plus the blueprint. Before I started with 8 million, so I made 48 million in however many minutes that was, and I am out of this system. Leaving this system.
Warp drive.
Take the money and run. We see here the Relic Site is still on there, so some poor sap is going to just be so excited. There's a Relic Site. Oh my God, Mom, there's a Relic Site in the system. I personally have found in my travels, by the way, that Great Wildlands is right now I'm doing like the grand tour of the Great Wildlands. I've been through it very briefly before. I took a wormhole a couple weeks ago that left me off somewhere to the west, quote unquote west of the Great Wildlands. And I wanted to get back into the Geminate Vale kind of regions. I went through the Great Wildlands. I made a lot of money. It was great. I didn't run into anyone out here, and I certainly didn't see anything that's even remotely wild. I didn't see any space deer, space bear, space raccoons, anything like that. Although these are things that I see in my normal neighborhood, just not the space varieties, just the normal varieties. And it's funny, because my parents are over for Memorial Day, and I'm always telling them about how many animals I see around here, because we are city folk, you know, we're not used to animals. And the whole time we're sitting there, my parents are like, all right, so you're telling me I'm just going to be sitting here and a raccoon's just going to come up to me. I'm like, no, I'm not telling you that. Like, I can't it's not like Wingspan guarantees you're going to see a raccoon. This isn't a whale watching service where I have some kind of money back guarantee. And then, like, right then a raccoon walks by. And my parents are like, so you're telling me that you just have like deer just like strolling through here in the middle of nowhere? I'm like, no, I'm not telling you that. I'm just telling you that every now and then I see a deer, and then like 3 minutes later, a deer just walks by, like 10 feet away, just walks by, looks at us, and just keeps walking. So at that point, my parents are like, so you're just telling me that just an angry grizzly bear. Any second, an angry grizzly bear will just come through here and just slaughter everything. Yeah, well. Anyway, I miss my parents ever since the grizzly bear attack. Been kind of lonely, but you know, they had it coming. They pushed to the luck. They pushed to the luck. By the way, my current skill plan right now, I'm training Galente Frigate up to 5. I'm going to be training a Mar Frigate up to 5 so I can max up my Astero armor and drone armor on that. And then I'm going straight for stealth bomber so I can drop in a Purifier, a Nemesis, whatever. Going into stealth bombers. I'd love to be flying around these regions cloaked, but then also being able to just destroy people with torpedoes. I don't know anything about it. I'm probably going to lose a lot of stealth bombers. This is looking bad. Let's see, are there any planets over here I could warp to? There is a planet I could warp to. Gonna warp over there. Gonna cloak. People here, they're probably not particularly scary. Huh. We got Admiral Red. That guy doesn't sound like an asshole at all. I see. Okay, I was trying to take this route to maximize my jumps through this area so that I could essentially look for the most amount of signatures. I don't see any anomalies or cosmic signatures in here. And then eventually I'm going to be looping back in this direction. So I guess we'll be going to UTAC. No, sorry, 56D first. So let's see what we got here. On D-scan, nothing. All right, let's jump. So far it's been relatively uneventful, and this is part of what I think I just like to show people too, because people are so afraid. Like, I feel like the longer you play EVE, the more afraid you get, and I had to give it to the Reddit community. They had that corporation Brave Newbies or whatever it is, and they're trying to get Redditors to get into deep space exploration, to get into PvP, to get into the kind of things that a lot of players are kind of like honestly just too chicken shit to even try. And I think that's good. I think it's good because I think a lot of players, honestly, they're just completely afraid of everything. They're completely afraid of risking anything. And then they're going to be sitting in high sec, like doing really crappy mining, making like 1,000 ISK per hour, while, you know, I'm not saying that I'm making the most money possible, the most ISK per hour, but I'm also having pretty decent fun just flying around, seeing all the sites out here, taking lots of photos. I'm a big photo bug. And just checking out the galaxy. So I think EVE players, whether you're completely new to the game or you're like a jaded old, I guess they use the term bitter vet a lot, I think you guys got to branch out, get a little less scared, find a way to get out of your shell, and check out the universe. Because I think this is where this is why you're playing a space game, right? If you want to sit docked in a station or hold up in your save points the whole time, like, you know, there's literally, what is it? Someone told me there's 6,000. There are 6,000 solar systems in New Eden. 6,000. And then you figure how many planets are in there, how many cosmic signatures. And I feel like a lot of players, even the ones who have played for like 5, 6, 7 years, have not really even seen a significant portion of that solar system. Let me show you something real quick, by the way, in the map here. So in the map, I currently have my map to show how many jumps in the last hour there are, so I can get some intel on whether or not it's safe. And you're going to see right now these are basically abandoned systems I'm jumping through. There's 3 jumps in the last hour. But over here there's like 30 jumps in the last hour. These are areas I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful. There's actually players over there. But there's all kinds of ways you can look at the map, right? You can look at the actual color of the stars. So now you can see like, okay, this one's is a white dwarf or something like that, okay? You could look at things like the security status. So all the red dots are null sec, and then green down orange, whatever. You can look at things like jumps in the last hour, escape pods destroyed, pilots currently active, number of stations in system, ships destroyed in the last 24 hours, right? You can look at things like, all right, here's something you could look for. You could look at my assets. It'll show you where do you own assets in the game, which obviously most of these places I don't. You can look at things like where your fleet members are in space, where your locations are saved, okay? And you can see here that I have locations saved through a lot of space, all right? I've saved a lot of locations, and it kind of gives you a sense. And that gives you a sense of where I've been, but there's also one, systems I've visited, where you can literally see every system you visited in the game. So I've been through a decent portion of this Immensia Detorid area, all throughout Cache, all throughout Geminate and Vale, into the Cavell Expanse and Paragon Falls. I've been up here a little bit in Tribute, Tenal, Venal, and Branch. I've been through a lot of this high-sec area, the Forge and Citadel, and down through every shore in the Verge and Genesis. But there's lots of places I haven't been. Like, I haven't been down at all to, this period basis or Aquarius. I guess I was down here once, a couple times when I went through wormholes. Maybe I jumped in a fountain once through a wormhole, things like that. When you see little things like that, maybe it's through a wormhole. But I feel like there's a lot of players in EVE that if you looked at this version of the map, they would have absolutely nothing. Like, they would have they'd have Jita and their home systems and like a couple systems around that. And honestly, I just find it sad. I find it sad. And that's why when I see people giving them other players advice, like, don't go into low sec until you've been playing for 5 months. Don't go into null sec until you've been playing for a year. I think these are people that, they're just bitter. They're just the kind of people like, I didn't go into null sec until I played for a year. So you shouldn't either because reasons. There's no actual reason. Like worst case scenario, what? It's a video game. You're gonna lose your video game spaceship. Boo hoo. Like, just deal with it. Like, I've lost plenty of spaceships. There's a reason that my Astero is named like the Wingspan 14 at this point. And not to say I lost 14 Asteros. This is data site, by the way, but just that I lost 14 of my little exploration frigates, and my Astero just happens to be the one that's currently carrying the namesake. So that's pretty much it. I don't think you need to watch me scan a million sites or make every single one of these jumps. I wanted to give you a sense of where I've come as a player, where I'm not just quaking in constant fear. Where exploration is now something that comes very second nature to me, where I get around the universe pretty safely, pretty swiftly, and maybe just a little bit bravely. And all that stuff basically means that I'm just unlocking experiences for myself, and I guess a little bit of money that I think a lot of players just aren't willing to put themselves in a position to try. And either they quit the game or they just resign themselves to thinking there's things that are boring about the game, when really the universe is there for the taking. So once again, I do have my beginner's EVE Online Exploration Guide online at toptiertactics.com. So if you want to check that out, it'd be greatly appreciated. I will be adding new sections periodically. So as of this video, I've made 4 of the sections, I believe, but it's going to be a total of like 7 or 8 sections. So if you don't see everything, check back, check in, let me know, give me your feedback. I certainly have only been playing a couple months, so there's certainly things I've missed. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I'd love to hear what you think about this video. I'd love to see you out in nullsec so we can fight over these sites and I can blow you to bits. I guess until that happens, cheers.